The first show of every week, our friends at Kuby Energy give us a reason to find optimism. They find us the silver linings. They find us the good news stories. We fill our buckets with a feature we call Positive Reflections. And I wanted to focus this story out of Grantham, Lincolnshire, England. This is a wild story. A teenage treasure hunter by the name of George Tyndale. I always love when young people have the power names. George. I like that for a young guy. Yeah. So he's a teenage treasure hunter, and he combs river bottoms with a heavy-duty magnet. Well, he found a safe. Literally, like dredging or just like combing his magnet, just running. He finds this safe. And so he gets help from his dad, and they pull out this small safe out of the river, and they manage to get it open. They follow this trail of clues, and guess what they find? Oh, no big deal. A safe containing a couple grand. Yeah, that's right. The equivalent of $1,800 Canadian. And there were some clues in there, too, about who this might belong to. So 15-year-old George Tyndale reaches out with his dad, and they find a guy by the name of Rob Everett. Well, Rob can barely believe it. He tells him that 22 years ago, the safe was stolen. Never thought he'd get it back. He said, I was amazed they had tracked me down. There are some really nice and good people in this world. They could have kept the money. They could have said they attempted to get a hold of me. Well, so Rob hooked them up with a small reward, as it's being described. A small reward. I want to pick your brain on that in just a second. But here's the deal. He offered George a job. He says, when you leave school, if you ever want work experience, the offer is always open.
Amazing.
Turns out Rob's a wealth manager, and turns out George is interested in that.
Cool.
So this actually could be, bigger picture, a new career opportunity for a kid who made the right move and contacted the rightful owner of about $2,000 cash.
Awesome.
Now, we know, Johnny, you always do the right thing, but
just
it'd be
gonna
easy
say,
at 15 years old to just...
How much money are we talking here again?
About $1,800.
Yeah, I'd probably return it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, if you get
bucks,
your $1,800 that you had written
that
off,
seems
it was
like-
stolen 22 years ago, which 22 years ago, by the way, would have been worth like $3,500, but I digress.
Yeah.
So your life has moved on. I'm sure you're fine. I'm sure you're over it 22 years later. And a 15-year-old kid gives you back your $1,800. What do you give him as a reward?
A hearty handshake and a hug.
No.
Like $1,800 sounds to me like a rent payment, a mortgage payment. So, if you found like $1 million, okay, now you got some thinking to do. But $1,800,
I think halvesies. 900 for you, 900 for me.
let's do a third.
Guy drives a hard bargain. And finally, I wanted to show off this team photo one more time. This is my positive reflection. My heart is full after 3 straight days running around downtown Edmonton, the Edmonton Convention Center, and, of course, Terwilliger Rec Center, with 21 teams full of absolute beauties, raising more than $1.3 million for Alzheimer's resources, families that are living with this devastating diagnosis. I'm so proud to have played on Team Cali Crush. Matt Cassian, the former Ottawa Senator, former Minnesota Wild, the big burly guy, was our pro. 2-0 through day one. We ran into a wall, a goaltender we couldn't solve on day two. Wound up with a record of 2-1, but a face hurting from smiling so big. Thank you to the Real Talkers that sponsored our team. We see you. And to everybody living with the debilitating impacts, the devastating impact of Alzheimer's, we've got your back, and we'll be back doing it again next year. A shout out to the amazing volunteers and everybody that filled our buckets all weekend long.